What is up, guys? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It's your girl here, the one that started it all, and I have a movie review for you guys. This movie was suggested by a kind soul, Mayank Gangwar. Hi, Mayank. I hope I said your name right. If not, I'm truly sorry. Please forgive me for the mispronunciation. I'm really sorry. I'm not good with pronouncing. But Mayank suggested that I watch a movie called Stree. They said that it is a horror comedy and it is very refreshing. Basically told me give it a shot. I was a bit iffy about it because I've seen movies where it's a horror comedy and the problem is, the comedic part takes over the horror part or the horror part takes over the comedic part. The thing of it is these two genres have to have a healthy marriage, I would say. Have I watched horror movies that have a comedic part to it? Yes. Does it take away from it? No. Basically what that does is to add humor in the sense of not only to give the audience like, okay, it's not that scary, but to give the whole human factor of fear and sort of relate to help relate to the character, the protagonist of that movie. Now, I was a little bit skeptical about this, but I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? A very awesome tale. I always like tales where it talks about, things like, it's kind of weird, here I am, a girl who doesn't want anything to do with religious or biblical, things like hell, anything biblical. Like if it's a horror movie about biblical stuff, I want nothing to do with it. Anything that has something to do with religion, I want nothing to do with it. But if it's a movie of like the Oz Wong, Filipino, creature that is vampiric, or like the Cuddy Black Sow, which is like a Scottish, death omen, or the Krakata, which is a African tale of a hyena-like creature with its back so ridged up that it has the ability to mimic the voice, or like skinwalkers or the Wendigos, or like things like the Chupacabras and the Dover Demon, Lizardman, anything that deals with monsters and like the Kitsunes, things like that. When it has something to do with mythical stuff, I like. And and when it's done with ghosts, but it's done like it's not scary. I do like that because you're learning more of why. So this movie was more of the why. Why is this going on? Why is this happening? I really did like it. And the comedic parts reminded me a lot of a movie called Once Bitten. And it's an American movie that it was back in the 80s. It stars Jim Carrey and how he was being pursued by a countess vampire who needed the blood of a virgin to still retain her beauty. And he was the last virgin in LA, so she had to come. I mean, some people would say that's a cheat. Yes, it has some horror aspects to it, but it was mostly comedy, so that's a cheat. But it was a good movie, and this movie reminded me of that. It is centered around a creature, a ghost. That is obviously something to happen to her. Basically, a Stree. This movie was inspired by a folklore back in the 80s about a spirit who knocks on doors. If you open the door, it would basically call the person by the name, deceiving them because they can mimic the voice. If that person opened the door, not only would they die, but it also will bring great, unfortune, bring great, dang, I had that word. It wouldn't be very good. It would bring great misfortune. There we go. Great misfortune on the family and things like that. So they would write down, please come tomorrow. And they would begin the cycle. Like they would put it on the door, please come back tomorrow. And it would be the cycle and cycle. They would cycle it out and so forth. Basically, they were doing the same thing. This ghost was going after men, and this was taking place during a festival. So basically, in Bat Blood, it will go, Stree, come back again. Oh, Stree, come back again. Come back tomorrow. And, and the men, basically the men were given rules what women would be given when they would go out. After 10 p.m., go home, stay home. Go in groups for in safety. So basically, the town was sort of under attack by this entity, by this tree. And so we meet the protagonist. His name is Vicky. Vicky is a lady tailor. He makes, dresses and everything else. You know, he he's got his pals. He meets a woman during the time of the festivals. This woman says, "I am not from here. I only come during the festivals." He tells his friends, "I'm in love with her." Blah blah, blah. And they're giving him a hard time. He goes like, "Okay, what would what do you want to do?" And you're like, "Vicky, please." He's like, "Vicky, please, what the hell is that?" Because his friends are Jenna and Buta. And Buta's giving him a hard. Basically, one dude's giving him a hard time, so I can see it. He grabs his friend, like, "Vicky, please." They got no game. They're basically nerds, but you know what? They're good guys. I would love to have friends like that. But bit two grows suspicious of this woman because he doesn't know his name, and every time Vicky's with her, she disappears. So he grows suspicious of this, and Vicky's like, "Oh, whatever," blah blah blah. Well, their friend Jenna gets taken by the Stree. So basically, the Stree takes men, and what is left behind of the men is their clothes. Their clothes are gone, left behind. So Jenna is missing, and Vicky and Buta go to a librarian, to wonder what the heck is going on, and tells them about the Stree. Tells them what they are, and the Stree would often hang out at an old fort. Well, Vicky goes, "I've seen that girl I've been talking to, that woman hanging out there, and it is a possibility that she's the Stree." Turns out, no. They go find Jenna, and they're about to be attacked by the Stree. This causes the librarian and Bitu to run off, and this creature, this Stree, is about to attack Vicky, but she doesn't. Seeing Vicky has respect and love, doesn't attack him. But the woman pops out and says a spell. Turns out she's a witch, and the Stree goes away. Basically, the woman's a witch, and she's trying to defeat the Stree because during the time of the festival, someone close to her, someone that she knew, was taken by the Stree. So she's kind of there to sort of like get closure and try to get revenge. Vicky then asks the Stree, "Let him go, let Jenna go." Jenna goes, but let's just say he's not out of the woods yet. So the story goes on as we learn what the Stree is. The Stree was a beautiful woman, was a beautiful woman, and she was going to marry a gentleman, a man. They end up getting killed by angry men, angry townsmen, because they were envious, so her fiance gets killed and she gets killed, and out of spite and anger, "I will go after every one of you, till there's no man left in this town, nothing." And all that this ghost wanted was love and respect. And a possessed the nun, goes to every door and puts down, "Get rid of Tamara," goes and starts an invitation. "Oh, Stree, come." Oh, and then people are disappearing left and right. So they go to this guy who, told the story of what happened to the Stree, and there is a prophecy of a champion, of a savior, and it turns out Vicky's the savior. He has all of the attributes, love and respect, but the one flaw that bugs him was that he was a love child, and he hates that flaw. He feels like he's not the savior because of that flaw. And he tells his dad, why would you do that, blah blah blah. And the dad understands why his son's upset, because in the drunken rage he tells his fellow, why would you do that, blah blah blah. And he says, I'm gonna save, starting to understand the father and who he is, although he's how he came into this world, out of sort of a mistress, a love child. The town didn't denounce him. They accepted him and seen, I will save this town. So the three only wanted respect and love. So he goes in to save the man, and she only wanted love and respect, and he sort of gives her that, and the woman, the witch, tells her cut her braid, so he cuts the braid, and this three sort of goes in peace, goes away. When all is said and done, he realizes that the woman, he never got the woman's name, but she goes on the bus, and this is really weird. So it turns out she only wanted the power of the Stree because she combines the braid of the Stree with her hair, and she disappears. And that's kind of weird. If someone can give me more information on why that is, that would be great. Because, the only creature that I would know is both a witch and a ghost is the banshee. But then again, the banshee is also a death omen from Irish lore. And the banshee will scream because that means someone's close to death. And unlike the Dullahan, which is also of Irish lore, they kind of like the angel of death. That's a thing. That's something else. But if someone can give me more light on why that happened, that would be great. But in the end, there is a statue made in the Stree's name. It goes, "Oh, Stree, protect us," and the Stree never went there again. It was. There was this one scene that is just so cute. He's with the girl, and the girl asks him, "Do you have trouble speaking? Do you have trouble talking?" He goes, "No, I can talk very well." And he starts talking about the peacock and goes like that. And he goes, "You are the most beautiful girl I have ever set eyes on, and therefore I want you to be my girlfriend." He's got no game, but he's very kind and very respectful, But, yeah. He's a tailor. And also another thing I will point out is she does ask him to make like a attire for her, but the material that she's asking for is a lot of strange, like cat's eye, bark, and things like that. He's a bit peculiar, and his friends, that's what kind of causes his friends to be more suspicious, but it was good. It was, like I said, I always like those kinds of tales because I'm more of the why rather than, oh, this is scary. Because 9 out of 10 of the time, those horror movies that go, oh, this is scary, I'm more like, why? Like The Grudge or Ju-on, that was more like, why? The Boogeyman, I was more like, why? White Noise, I was more like, why? There were other, like, Witchboard, which is a South Korean movie that I was like, why? Why can no one leave that town? Because there was a vengeful ghost of a mother who was a witch, the town witch, and she had a daughter who was blind, who was often tormented. And when the daughter died and the mother died, the mother put a curse on the town and basically said, no one leaves, anyone who leaves will die, There was also this other movie, oh my god, it was a good movie too, but it didn't really deal with horror as in like ghosts and stuff. It was more like horror, like a revenge kind of thing. And it also was a South Korean movie. The kids were locked down in a school and they had to solve riddles to save a classmate who was going to die, and they would die. It was like Saw. I think Saw was inspired by this movie, but I could be wrong. I can't remember what the movie was, but it was a good Korean movie. It was awesome. It was more like, why is this happening? Why? Good movie. But you know, this movie Stree, Mayak, yeah, you're right. It was very refreshing, very new. It was funny. It was, sad. It was cool in the sense of, wow, I really liked knowing that ghost tale and things like that. But yeah, this was a good movie. Yeah, I liked it. How would I give it? I give it an 8. I'll rate it an 8. Well, that's it for me, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and be safe out there, okay, guys?